Hi everyone. Hi everybody. Welcome. Welcome to our live. How are you guys doing? It's almost the weekend.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good.
Nice.
So good to see
Welcome
you.
everyone. Nice to see you too. It's finally happening.
I know.
So today me and Josephine will be talking about confidence and self-image in the modeling industry. We will have a lot of good tips for everyone, even if you're not in the industry, so welcome. Um, let's start. I will introduce a little
Yeah.
bit about myself. For those of you who don't know, I'm Kyra. I'm from Brazil. I have been modeling for the past 10 years or so. Currently, I'm in New York City. But I met Josephine about 5, 6 years ago when I went to LA
Mhm.
for modeling. And she was an agent there, and she's been working in the industry for 20 years or so. So she has a lot
Yeah.
of good tips for us, good experience. And recently she started her coaching career. So, Josephine, you want to share a little bit how that happened and how you started in the business?
Absolutely. Yeah, so my name is Josefine Ackerberg, and I started at an agency in Sweden, where I am originally from, about 20 years ago. And since then, I've been working in the industry as a modeling agent, scout, casting director, and also a client. And I think that during this time, I noticed that so many models were struggling with their sense of self worth due to the pressure of the industry in regards to body image, the competitiveness, rejection, and comparison to each other. So I started asking myself, like, what can I do with my previous personal and professional experience to help in regards to this? And I decided to become a certified coach. And I started my own practice this year. And I love it. It's just amazing to be a part to help models with both their personal and their professional growth, and to give back to this community that I've worked in for such a long time.
Yeah, for sure. When I first heard about your coaching career, I was like, that's such a good idea because I don't think I've ever seen anyone from the modeling industry to start that coaching career. And it's so, so helpful, as you mentioned already
Yeah.
before, with the body image and confidence. It's something that we always struggle with. So I appreciate that you decided to start that.
Well,
Um, so we're gonna have Q&A towards the end. If anyone has a question as we go, feel free to drop them in the box below and then we'll get to them at the end. So now we're gonna start talking about body image, which is a topic that we models who have been already working and even those who are starting will come across sooner or later, especially because it's an industry that we are always judged by appearance, measurements. Now with social media, there's a lot of what's out there. It's very filtered, so it's kind of hard to know what's real. It can be very hard to us. So I wanted to ask you, what is even body image? And then from that, how do we know that we have body image issues?
yeah. So first, I would just like to mention that everything that I share today are, tips and strategies that some of my clients use and myself. So they might not work for everyone, of course, but I think the best way is to use it as a guide and pick and see whatever works for you. But body image, so it's not about what you look like. It is actually about the relationship that you have with your body. So the feelings, the thoughts, the beliefs, and the actions. And as you mentioned, in modeling, this becomes particularly challenged since you're always being judged by your appearance. And this may result in, excessive workouts, eating disorders, or just feelings of not being good enough.
Yeah.
And I think, there are many women who struggle with their body image, and it doesn't matter what you look like, because you can be, the most pretty person in the room and still not like yourself. So, but some examples of how it shows up is that you're constantly looking in the mirror, inspecting your appearance for flaws, or maybe you're weighing yourself constantly, comparing yourself to others. You just don't feel like you are good enough.
Yeah. I think for me, in the beginning of my career, I definitely felt like I had to look a certain way to be a model. I had to be tall and I had to be skinny. And um, I thought that that was the only way. And I participated in this workshop where they were telling us like, oh, models can only eat this, model cannot eat this. And I remember up to this day, they were playing some slides up on the big screen, and it was like a photo of a beer glass. And they were like, models can only have 2 beer glasses. And I was like, oh, I love beer in the summertime. So is that the only way that I can be a model? Like I have to do all these restrictions just to be skinny? But then when I started in the industry, I realized that there's jobs for every body type out there. And it's much more important to be with a body that's natural to you, because if I cannot have that ice cream and I'm going to be sad about it, or if I cannot have a beer with my friends and family and I'm going to be sad about it,
Yeah.
it would definitely show up to clients, and they would definitely see that I have low energy and I'm not happy. So it is, as you say, it's not about how we look, it's about how we feel. And once you know and you learn that your body is a natural way, it's a certain way, then you get all the jobs, and there are jobs for everyone out there. Now I still focus on my body in some ways, but it's not just because of modeling, it's also because of my health. So if I exercise, I'm doing it because I'm going to live longer and be healthy, and not because I'm going to be tall and skinny and get jobs and so on.
Exactly.
I also think it's important to mention that sometimes models are judged for having body image issues. I've heard so many times from people in the industry like, oh, how come you have body image issue? You're so perfect. You have a great body. And again, it's not about how your body looks, it's about how you feel. So if you feel not good about your body, you would think that your body doesn't look good. So it's really about how we carry ourselves with that confidence that we love our body for all the other reasons other than modeling, just for our health.
Exactly.
So if you're out there and you have body image issues, that's okay. Don't overjudge yourself for having them as well.
No, it's very common.
Yeah, 100%. So we talked a little bit about how we can be good with our body, but I wanted to hear from you. How can we improve our body image and feel confident about our bodies?
Well, yeah, I mean, for modeling, I think, like you mentioned too, it's important to know that there are many different kinds of modeling these days. The industry has been opening up to more diversity in regards to body shape and race and gender. So even if you don't fit, one client's certain measurement standards, there are plenty of other clients that you can work for. And then again, I think also focusing on being healthy versus skinny. Eat good food that's healthy for you, find an exercise that works good for you. And it might be so that you have to try a few different strategies to find the right one for you.
Yeah.
But then also, make a list of the things that you do like about your appearance, and also your strengths and your inner qualities. And also remember that your body is a tool. Like you can breathe, you can walk, you can dance. There's so many things that your body does for you. It's not just about the way it looks.
Exactly. I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, and then also, maybe list some other successful people that you admire that might not fit the traditional beauty standard, and just like ask yourself, so why do I admire them? Like, what do they have that's so much more?
Yeah, that's not related to the body.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I think we can move on to the confidence and self-worth part of this conversation. With modeling, there are a lot of rejections. And then from that, comparison and competitiveness. We are always looking out there, and especially now with social media, sometimes we see other models are working, and sometimes we're like, oh, why am I'm not working, and how come that model is working?
Yeah.
So it can be damaging for our confidence for sure. Um, for me, the time I started to be more confident was the time that I started to deal with the no's and I stopped caring about the no's. And I remembered I either learned from them or I like was grateful for them in a way. When I first came to New York City to see the agencies, I visited about like 6 or 7 agencies and they all say no to me. And at the time, I was like, well, I could be very tough on myself and be like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
not good enough for New York. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not whatever. I could be very damaging to my confidence if I were talking those limiting beliefs to myself. But so I decided to go back to LA and I was like, well, I work really well in LA. Maybe I can get more experience, shoot with more photographers, um, build my book, build my portfolio, build my confidence in front of the camera,
Yeah.
work on my social media. So I went back to LA and I was working there and thinking about the things that I could improve on myself. Um, and 5 months after, an agent at Wilhelmina, New York, contacted me on Instagram, and she was like, "We really like you. Can you sign with us?" And I was like, "Oh my God, that's incredible!" And during this time, I was also very, very grateful because if it wasn't for modeling, I wouldn't even be here in the United States. So, long story short, I think for me, being grateful, being patient, and improving ourselves in a way that it's good for us is what worked out for my confidence. I think also confidence can come a lot with criticism. We sometimes we get criticized a lot in the industry, and I remember when I was starting my career, I used to go back home to Brazil and I had to send photos to my agent, digitals to send to the other agents.
Yeah.
And I remember I would do my own makeup and everything. And a lot of the eyeshadow would fall under my eyes and would make me look very tired. And I remember one day my mother agent was like, "Yeah, you look very tired. There's a lot of like eyeshadow under your eyes." And I looked at the photo and I was like, that's so true. Oh my God, how come I never thought about this before? Maybe I should like do eyeshadow before I do my concealer. And so I took that criticism and I better myself in a positive way.
Mhm.
So I wanted to talk to you. How can we improve our self-esteem? How can we feel more confident with this industry that's very, very tough on us sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, it's very challenging. I think uh, first, I just want to mention that body image and self-esteem go kind of hand in hand because if you have a low self-esteem, most of the time you also have a negative body image. And it's also important to clarify what self-esteem is. And to me, someone with a healthy self-esteem, you are rooted, you're grounded in yourself. You don't worry so much about what other people think about you. So it's like not about being the loudest person in the room or wearing expensive clothes or having a cool style. It's more about having a really realistic view of your strengths and your flaws and also trust in your own abilities. And I mean, this doesn't mean that you'll never fail or you'll never have self doubts or things like that, because everyone does. But you know how to handle those feelings and you can move forward and move on to the next challenge and just trust and believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And I think in modeling, like you mentioned, yeah, it's a lot of comparison. If you take things personally and thinking, there's something wrong with me, it's going to be very difficult for you.
Yeah.
Um, And I think you can also feel like you're a little bit lost with no sense of control, or, if you're struggling with your self-esteem. So it's really important that you work on this, because it's going to be very difficult for you to handle, well, criticism or comments that might not be nice, about your appearance, if you think that has something to do with your self-worth. And it can cause anxiety and depression. So,
Yeah.
but if you have a strong sense of self-worth, it will be easier for you to communicate with your agencies and clients and everyone, and you will take this feedback instead of becoming offended or defensive. You're like, okay, whatever, I don't care what they say, I know. Yeah, you'll just let it roll off your back, and
Yeah.
you'll be able to handle stress and everything better.
Yeah.
And another thing that's really important to know about self-esteem, I think, is that it's not your own fault. This is something that comes from our cultural background, our upbringing, or certain life events that happen to us. And most models struggle with this, especially in this industry. It's really hard. And it's nothing to be ashamed of, or it's completely normal.
Yeah. Yeah. When we were talking about this like a couple of weeks ago, you mentioned something about being self-aware also. And I thought about something that happened to me, which was that I had to accept that I am a quiet Brazilian. And a lot of the times I will go to work and I'll tell people on the crew that I'm from Brazil, and there some people will be like, "How come you're from Brazil? You're so quiet, and you're not dancing so much, and you're so not bubbly and like loud." And sometimes I'll go back home and I'll be like, "Wait, do I have to be like a loud, bubbly Brazilian?" Um, and that sometimes I thought of even changing the way I was just to like satisfy other people. But then at other times, clients will be like, "Oh, you're so calm. You're so easy to talk to. You have like a very peaceful personality. We love working with
Yeah.
you." And so I realized, well, I can be myself as a Brazilian, as a quiet Brazilian, and still do well. I don't have to change who I am to like satisfy other people. So what you brought up about the point of having values that are true to who you are, it's
Mm-hmm.
really, really important. And that definitely shows to other people because it's much better to be yourself than to pretend to be somewhere else, someone else. And
Exactly. And that's amazing, because I think, if you realize all these strengths and the good qualities that you have, and
Mhm.
then you can work on ways how you can use those even more to improve your personal life and your career. And
Yeah,
that's a really important step. But I think, to modeling, there are kind of two things. So the first is the more practical one, which is like building your confidence. So that's your skills, build your portfolio, practice your angles or your walk, or if you're going to commercial castings, maybe practice a little bit of acting and build your Instagram, those kind of things. And then the
yeah,
second part is the self-worth part, which I believe is the most important one to have a sustainable, healthier career in modeling.
yeah, absolutely. Um, just looking over here, I think I forgot to mention something about confidence as well, which is myself and a lot of models that I know sometimes they will go to castings and they will be so anxious about everything that happened at the casting, even after the casting was over. We will be over analyzing everything that happened at the casting. For example, why didn't the client ask me to try on clothes? Why didn't they look at my portfolio?
Mm-hmm.
And myself, I will have those thoughts sometimes, and I'll go back home and like be overthinking, over analyzing them. And I was like, oh, I didn't get the job. And then turned out I did get the job. So all those thoughts that I had were very wrong. And
Yeah.
it was just like unnecessary anxiety that I was
Mm-hmm.
bringing to myself. So I realized that I think the best thing for us to be confident is to do our best because that's all that's on our control. We can do
Yeah.
our best and go thinking that we're going to do our best and get the job. And all the other things that happen outside of that are out of our control. So we don't have to be over and over and over thinking about things. You do your
Exactly.
best, and um, things will happen for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's so true. And that's also one of the strategies that I would like to mention that you can use whenever those negative thoughts come up. So, for example, it's important to be able to reframe your thoughts. So, when you're thinking, oh, I'm never going to succeed, well, maybe look at it, I'm courageous for taking this step. I'm putting myself out there in front of all these people, I'm learning from this,
Yeah.
or looking into other possibilities. So, for example, if you don't get confirmed for a job, well, maybe that means, that the client was looking for a model with a different kind of look, or, maybe the trend is different right now, but maybe they'll book you next time.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, focus on gratitude. Like, and, you can reframe your thoughts and think, well, I'm thankful that I get this opportunity. And no matter what happens, I'll learn from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I think we can move to the next stop, which is highly related to confidence as well, which is uncertainty of the industry, because models never know what they're doing tomorrow. Sometimes we only find out that we're working like the day before at 6 p.m. So there's a lot of stress and anxiety about when the next job would be. Now with the pandemic, a lot of us weren't working for a long, long time, and that can bring a lot of anxiety. So I wanted to ask you, how can we handle that anxiety, that
Yeah,
uncertainty?
so yeah, like you said, I mean, it's an industry that's impossible to predict, right? Or anything in life, really.
Yeah,
So I think it's, look at uncertainty as possibility, or with curiosity. Okay, well, what's going to happen here now? I'm excited to see how this is going to fold out. Use thoughts like that instead. And then again, focus on what you can control. So if work is slow or nothing is happening, what can you do in the meantime? Can you work on developing your modeling skills, or can you, maybe work on your mindset or take a course or something like that? And then also remember that modeling is a job, so it's not who you are. And find other interests and other hobbies, and maybe think of another career path for after modeling. Explore those kind of things so that you feel like you have something to fall back on too.
yeah. Yeah, I think being a model and having this like flexibility with the schedule and everything also allow us to have more room for possibilities, like you mentioned. And in my case, for those of you who don't know, I graduated last December with a degree in fashion business management from FIT. And I realized just by going to school that I had like a little edge over other students because of the experience I had with modeling. The fact that I live in like 9 countries and that I left my home country when I was very young and I was working by myself independently. Really, it's a valuable experience that we're gonna carry with
Mm-hmm.
us for the rest of our lives. And also the network that we models can have with our job, it's incredible. Like all of us models here that have been in the industry for a while can plan a photo shoot in like 2 days, and we're gonna have photographers to call, we're gonna know makeup artists and creative director. So all of that, it's very, very valuable, and we're gonna always carry with us. And also, I remember last year when I was doing interviews for my internships that I had to do on my last year of school. Every interviewer were asking me, how good are you with adapting to changes? And then I was like, oh my God, I'm a pro. Because
Exactly.
and then I went on and I explained to them that I like lived in different countries and I did modeling and it's very uncertain. So I'm always prepared for changes. I'm always
Mm-hmm.
ready to change. So all of those things are extremely valuable, and we can definitely take with us forever for anything that
Exactly.
we're gonna do in the
Yeah,
future.
exactly. I mean, there's so much, strength and patience, adaptability, and maybe you developed a sense of an eye for art or fashion.
Yeah.
You can go in so many different directions. So
Yeah. In my example, school was very good for me because I learned a lot about myself during school. But it doesn't have to be just school. There's a lot of other career paths that can come from modeling. And do you have any examples that you can share with us from your clients that like turns modeling
yeah,
into something?
absolutely. Yeah. So one model that I worked with, she created a whole brand around her lifestyle, which was like in fitness and cuisine, and she created her own streetwear brand. Another one really dedicated herself to work on her mindset, and then she booked a big campaign. And she's also now an empowerment coach, helping other models to work on their
That's
mindsets. So, there's so many different fields you can go into. And I know many models start become agents or photographers, stylists, nutritionists, real estate agents. I mean,
yeah.
you can use these skills in many, many different fields.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I think sometimes models can feel a little bit self-conscious because they don't have a college degree or they didn't follow the path that all the other people are following. But again, look at all those things that we learn that we do.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty amazing. Um, so since we are on this topic of traveling,
Hmm.
let's talk a little bit about traveling to other markets, adapting, and loneliness, which is something that it's very dear to my heart because this is something I struggle with now, and I will always struggle. I miss my family a lot. I miss my friends back home. Now with the pandemic, a lot of my friends are back home in Brazil. They can't enter the country, so I feel lonely sometimes. And that's okay. And I feel like this is always going to happen.
Hmm.
But for me, what has helped me was to have hobbies and a purpose to get out of bed every morning that doesn't just involve modeling. I think it's really important to be okay with ourselves, being okay with being alone. And with that, I just want to emphasize again the importance of being good with our minds because if we're alone, we can handle ourselves. Yeah. But it has to be a balance, don't be lazy
Yeah,
and call your friends up, plan a park day, try something new. Again, for me, what has worked out was school. School was a good way for me to learn more about myself. But it could be other things. It could be foster a cat, foster a dog, learn a new instrument or language. It could be so many other things. Um, so I think it's important to try different things and deal with the uncertainty.
definitely. I mean, it's, yeah, like you said, it's like becoming self-aware and like really, getting to know what you like and what you don't like, because that's the only way to also know what you want in life.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But I
remember.
think, yeah, another thing is to develop, healthy support systems. And these days there are plenty of social media groups like on Facebook or Instagram that you can join, where you can share experiences and connect with other models.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. And then also to stay in touch with family and friends on a regular basis, and
Yeah.
or get a coach or a mentor that can help you, keep you motivated and help you feel supported and guide you on this journey.
Yeah. And that goes along with modeling in another country as well. If you know someone through the support group that has been in the country that you're going to,
Exactly.
ask them ask
Yeah,
them how it went, how it is there. I think it's important to be like part of a community for sure. Anyone here can ask me any question about modeling, and if I can help, I will help in any way I can.
yeah.
Um,
And then again, develop your self-esteem, because if you feel confident in yourself, or it will also be easier for you to build new relationships and open up to new people.
yeah, absolutely. I remember before I started college, I got a piano, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna learn a piano, and I learned like 2 songs and a half. And then I was like, okay, this is not for me. I dropped it. So that's totally fine too. If you start something
Yeah,
you don't like, just drop it. I
of
guarantee
course.
sooner or later you will find something that interests you, something that you love.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think it's more about taking the action to actually
yeah,
do try new things, you know, and then
yeah,
eventually you will find something that you like.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, I think we covered everything.
I also would like to mention something about the traveling there. I
Yeah,
think, you know, there's no education as valuable as traveling and meeting, you know, different cultures and new markets. I feel like that's how you learn about life.
yeah, absolutely. Um, and about people too. Like
Yeah,
I noticed that I have kind of like a ease when talking to people from other countries because I lived in another country that they're from or whatever. Like that traveling has taught me so much about people also, which is incredible.
exactly. And that's also kind of like when you meet other people, how you get to know yourself too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think all of us models can say for sure that we are very good at working with people and with teams because we always work with different teams from different backgrounds. So that's something also that we can be very proud of, and that's very valuable.
Absolutely.
Um, okay, so we can go to Q&A now. I saw already we have a few questions. Um, I like this one a lot from Alexis. She asked, how do you remain confident about your natural self in a world of fillers and plastic surgery? Yeah, this is a tough one because
Yeah, I think, you know, again, it comes back to asking yourself what your values are. Like, what do you value in yourself and in other people? Is it more about the way they look or how they are or their, you know, their inner qualities?
yeah, exactly. And I think it's important to remember our strengths, what we like about ourselves. Even if you want to say like, "Oh, I love my lips, I love my eyebrows, I like my hands," I think those are good things to remember.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
but the most important thing is what's inside,
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly. Yeah. And I think, you know, that's, and again, you know, work on building your self esteem because if you felt good about yourself, maybe you wouldn't, you know, be so, um, what was the question? You wouldn't care so much about fillers or plastic surgery.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't need it. This is who I am. This is not.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's okay too if you want to put fillers. If that,
of course. I mean, yeah, it's up to everyone. But
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, cool. Let's see other questions. Um, someone just commented, a great attitude and confidence results in great photos.
that's
Uh,
true.
I love that for sure.
Yeah.
Some other people are commenting on just tips about acting industry. I think a lot of what we talked about here apply to acting as well.
Yes.
For example, feeling anxious every casting you do, or like over consuming yourself with acting as who you are and not as your
Mhm.
job. I think all of those can be very helpful here. Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I agree with you. I think so too. And again, it comes back to looking at, so what can you improve? You know, look at, do you, are there skills that you need to improve, or is it about your mindset and like how, what you need to do to get
Yeah,
closer to your goals in acting? So,
yeah. That just made me think of like just in the last 2 weeks, my booker asked me if I knew how to dance, run, and roller skate. And I was like, see, that's something we can learn. Maybe
yeah,
learn how to.
exactly.
And I think the same goes with acting. Maybe you have to learn a new, um, like Brooklyn accent for a
Mhm.
casting, or like I think the same applies for acting as well.
Absolutely.
Um, That's it for questions. Someone was asking what my favorite foods are. Uh, Mom, you're here. She has my favorite food. Just healthy food, yummy food, whole foods, vegetables and fruits. But just before here, I was eating cookies. So just do what you can to
Balanced.
be healthy, but a balance, yeah. Okay, so I think I just want to tell everyone that's here on the live now, give them some information about how your sessions work. Can they
Hmm.
approach you? Is it for women only, men also? How does it work?
So I focus mainly on women because that's where I have most experience, but it's not like I'm saying no to male clients. I have a few male clients also.
Mhm.
It's just that I have more experience of working with female models, but the basics are kind of similar anyway.
Yeah.
But my sessions, so I offer everyone a free trial session so that they can see how coaching works and if they like to work with me or, they think that I'm a good fit for them. And then the client always brings the agenda or what they want to talk about. But typically, it can be a mix of questions about the industry and what we talked about today, the challenges, how to navigate through them. And then some people also don't know what they want in life. So we focus on, finding out, yeah, becoming self aware and different paths that they can take or find more clarity and direction. And I'll also, share from my experience of the industry and also my personal journey. And then we'll set up some goals or visions and do action steps in between sessions. And these can be anything from resolving a conflict to exercises or anything really. The client sets them. So I just follow up and then we'll see like, okay, how did this work out? Did it work out or did it not? Just to keep them accountable because it
Yeah.
helps you to see that you're moving forward. And setting goals or visions also gives you a sense of confidence because you feel like you're more in control of where you're going.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, and usually my clients see results pretty fast. Like already after one session, they start to feel more motivated and they feel like they have choices, they're more in control of their lives and where they want to go and how they want to feel.
Yeah, I'm sure it's very rewarding for yourself too to see like the
Yeah,
progress.
I love it. It's amazing. And I think that anyone can benefit from coaching because it affects all areas of your life, not just your career, but also your personal. And sometimes we'll talk about relationships. It really depends.
Yeah.
Um, I think the most important thing is to just take action and then stay committed to really like work on yourself and
Yeah.
yeah, start creating the life that you want.
Yeah. I think just from like talking to you the last couple of weeks by everything made myself think about some things about my life also that I wasn't aware. And it wasn't even like a section with you, but yeah, I can definitely feel like just by talking and sharing a little bit of your goal can be very helpful for a lot of us models.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
Oh, we got another question.
Oh,
Um, family.
but also
uh,
I could mention I like to make the sessions fun.
okay.
We don't focus so much on the past. We focus more on the present and the future where you want to go, and like we make it fun, and like a journey. It's exciting to you get to know yourself. It's like your best friend.
Yeah. Yeah, amazing. Um, all right. Thank you so much, Josephine.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone who showed up and stayed with us. Hope you all enjoyed it. Feel free to reach out to Josephine or myself if you have any questions, anything really.
Yes, we're
Thank
here
you.
for you.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a good
you.
weekend, everyone.
Thanks. Bye bye. Thank you,
Bye.
Kara.
Bye, Josephine. Thank you.